Alrighty, so the final game of the opening weekend of the 2023 MLS regular season just finished, and in the end, the Portland Timbers, they score early in this game to get a 1-0 lead, and that turns out to be enough for them to get all 3 points after tonight, as they are able to grind out a result on a cold, frigid night at Providence Park. But for Sporting KC, yeah, this is going to be a very disappointing result because I think the balance of play throughout the 90 minutes, I do think they were the better team, but they just could not figure out their final third and in terms of their finishing. But like I said, the Timbers, they got off to a good start in this one, but a lot of that thanks to the fact that Sporting KC backline was making some bad mistake. First, in the 5th minute, Volder almost had a Kip Keller moment here. He passed this one straight to Skoda, but fortunately for Volder is that Polskam came off his line and palmed this one away, and that Polskam, great game for him in this one, despite conceding the goal, and that let the debates begin of whether is it going to be John Polskam or is it going to be Tim Melia, the one that's going to be between the stakes for Sporting KC. I mean, I feel like that shouldn't be a debate because we know that John Polskam most likely is going to be hair of Tim Melia, knowing the fact that Melia probably might have a year or two left in the tank, or maybe even three years if you want to go that long. But unfortunately, that great effort from Polskam was kind of wasted because just 1 minute later, Mosquera would score from Jimmy Chara to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead, and Mosquera basically 5-holed Polskam there. Basically went through his leg, but this all happened because of another bad defensive mistake by Sporting KC, especially from Ben Sweat side. And yeah, early on, this Sporting KC backline was kind of what I expected from this season, which is a team that has a lot of question of whether or not this backline is good enough, and especially with them just having kind of almost like a crisis with the backline with not a lot depth. Though I will say that as the game goes along, they definitely play much better. But yeah, early on it was kind of shambolic for this team. In fact, as I said, they look all overwhelmed. They look all over the place with some brutal giveaways and some key mistake. But at the same time, seems like the attack has picked up some of the slack for Sporting KC. I mean, they look very threatening going forward on the attack, especially on the build-up, but they just need to be a little bit cleaner in terms of the final ball. In the 23rd minute, Bingham would rob Tommy from point-blank range, so it's actually David Bingham that is in goal in this one. And speaking of a good night, that goes the same for David Bingham. And this is kind of a surprise, too, because he hasn't been getting a lot of minutes for the Portland Timbers. And, to step in straight away like this, it's not going to be easy for a backup goalkeeper. But I thought David Bingham did a good job in this one. And then just a couple of seconds later on the same sequence, he would deny Tommy again. This time, Eric Tommy tried to chip him, but Bingham was having none of it. He tips that one over. And then in the 30th minute, this is a huge concern if you're a Portland Timbers fan. Jimmy Chara had to be subbed off with an injury, and Moreno did replace him. But again, talking about lack of depth. I mean, both of these teams coming into this game definitely lack that depth. But for the Portland Timbers, I mentioned they are one of the thinner team, especially on the defensive side and also on the attacking side. To lose Jimmy Chara like that, yeah, they don't really have a lot option like that. And also, this kind of sucks for Jimmy Chara, too, because he's been battling so many injuries ever since he's came from this Portland Timbers side. And the good news is, his replacement, Santiago Moreno, is a decent one. But again, for the Timbers, they better hope that this is not a serious injury. The shots were 3-2 in favor of Sporting KC. So again, there wasn't really a lot shot, but Sporting KC had most of the possession, which shouldn't be a big surprise because the Timbers, they like to play that low block and trying to go on the counter quickly. It's their bread and butter. Voltaire then blasted high from long range in the 42nd minute, but we do head to halftime with the Timbers leading 1-0. Now in the second half, I thought it was a strong start for the Portland Timbers coming out of the gate. There was a shout for a penalty from the Timbers Army, but it wasn't given. They mentioned the Timbers have yet to register a shot since the 6th minute. So yeah, they weren't really. I mean, despite the fact that they were going with their bread and butter of trying to hit on the counterattack, they weren't having a lot of success with that, especially with Sporting KC doing a good job in terms of winning the ball back in the midfield, and that the Timbers just could not release that quick outlet ball to start the counter. But as the half goes along, I thought Sporting started to settle in, but again, the final third, it's still a problem for this team. They just cannot quite figure out that final ball to create chances and also figure out that final third. Larea would blast it high from long range, and then Espinoza had a header that just flashed wide, and I can definitely hear from the 20,000 so inside Providence Park. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of them were holding their breath for a second. By the way, it was a relatively good crowd at Providence Park. I mean, yes, there were some empty seats that I noted, but knowing the fact that it is like 40 degrees in Portland, or actually not even 40 degrees. It's like the temperature is like in the 30s and it's raining. Yeah, those are definitely miserable weather for any fans to attend. And we talk about MLS game, especially during the early part of the season. This is going to be one of the criticism I will say about Apple TV, creating the schedule and having so many of these 7:30 games taking place during the evening in a cold night, and that's going to draw the attendance down a little bit, but not here. I mean, Timbers fans, they still show up even if it's a cold night at their home ground. But I also thought that Sporting KC was getting closer and closer to get the equalizer, and the Timbers, they were kind of playing with fire a little bit with the way that they continue to give Sporting KC chances to maybe find that good moment to tie the game up at one apiece. Because if there's one thing we know about 1-0 lead from this week, it's not a safe lead whatsoever, even if you are the home team, or even if you're the road team, that is. In the 62nd minute, Larea would put one once again into the Timbers army from long range, and then Postcam would deny Larea in the front post. But then on the other end, Bingham would deny Shelton in the 6th. Shari had a good look from inside the box, but he only hits one right to Bingham. And again, Sporting KC pounding on the pressure, and the Timbers, again, they looked like they were holding on for dear life at times, but also kind of elected to go with the bread and butter to trying to find that transitional play, and they kind of find that success in this moment in the first minute of stoppage time when Zaka was through on goal there, and he looked like he was going to put this one away, but Postcam said no. He denies him there to keep Sporting KC at least still alive in this one. But unfortunately for Sporting KC, they weren't able to find that crucial equalizer, as in the end, the Timbers grind this one out and get the 1-0 win. Shots in this one, 12 shots compared to 7 that the Timbers had. Both teams had 4 shots on goal, 3 shots off target for both of these teams, 5 shots that was blocked compared to none that the Timbers had. And possession-wise, Sporting KC had majority of possession, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that the Portland Timbers has in this game. But again, overall, the Timbers, they take advantage of the mistake that Sporting KC has, and they just kind of ride this out. I mean, it's not an impressive performance by any stretch of imagination, but I think knowing the fact that we're still early in the season and a lot of these players are trying to get themselves back to match fitness, you take these kind of results that you're just kind of grinding out the reserve. But for Sporting KC, again, this has got to be frustrating because I don't think they play badly in this one. In fact, I thought that they play a really good road game, but it's just that final third quality and also that final ball that is missing. And I will say that, if they do get Polito back in this roster, I would think that it could definitely make this attack a little bit dynamic, and it'll be interesting to see when he is going to come back to this team, because I think this was also one of those games that I think they do miss him a little bit. But yeah, for Sporting KC, it's a disappointing result, but they'll definitely go again next week. And the good news is that they do get to play against the Colorado Rapids on the road, and we know the Rapids was just an absolute mess in opening weekend. But the bad news is they playing a team that is looking to try to bounce back, and usually when a team that has a bad road loss, it's never easy to face them in the very next game, especially at home. But for the Timbers, again, they will enjoy this win, but it's going to be a very short week for them because the fact that this game is delayed till Monday. and the fact that they have an early start on Saturday against LAFC on the road. I mean, they don't have a lot of time to prepare for that game, and we'll see whether or not a fitness could be an issue, knowing the fact that they don't have a lot of time to prepare for that one. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.